Welcome. On this channel, I do unscripted, unedited videos of Linux programming and stuff. If you're new to the channel, you probably want to check out video number 1. It kind of explains the format. And also video number 23, which explains the current game project that I'm working on. In the previous videos, I've been working on just the very early pass-through, like this thin slice of the most primitive behavior of the game engine starting up of the server. And I had done it starts up, it loads its config. In fact, let's just jump back and look at let's just jump back in and take a look at the notes file. What I was doing here is the server starts, it reads its environment variables, it reads the state, and now it also, when shutting down, writes out the state before exiting. So the pieces that we have missing here are that maybe I'll actually show these as indented. So we start, we read this, we start reading the state, we start reading the wall, we enter the main loop, we accept and process messages, accept connections, some of this isn't done. I'll come back and mark which is. Accepting connections, so then closing connections, flushing the wall. Not sure if that's the right place. Yeah, it'd be here. We write the state, exit. Okay. Some of this is unbalanced. I'll sort it out here in a minute. Okay, so I'm trying to kind of portray the behavior of the server on start. We're just going to call read environment vars. Okay, so we are not yet reading the state. This is a sorry, we're not yet reading the wall. That's not happening. We don't have a main loop yet. We don't start accepting connections. I did do the echo server, but it's not incorporated into this code yet. Of course, because we're not accepting connections, we're not closing connections. Flush the wall. Write the state. We are writing the state. We are not flushing the wall because we're not even producing it yet. Okay, I think that this is still not quite, the balance is missing. So if I read the state, flushing the wall, okay, so anyway, I will work on the balance of this. The thing I want to look at right now is I want to enter the main loop, which implies exiting the main loop. Okay, so I'm just kind of trying to fiddle with this and get the part. So there's two parts here. I could I could work on read the wall and flush the wall, but the thing is the wall's not going to the write ahead log will have 0 information in it. It doesn't start to have information until you get here when you start processing the messages, because then inside of the processing of the messages, what you're going to do is write wall, and then accepted connection. Probably could be even more particular here. We could say you accept the connection, you receive a message, Copilot drives me bonkers when I'm not writing code. I gotta figure out how to disable it depending on file type. Okay, so you would receive the message. You're going to receive the message. You're going to you're going to write to the wall, update the state. So you receive the message, you write to the wall, you're going to update state. Now, eventually, you're going to have to, stop accepting connections. I don't know if the flush wall even belongs here anymore in that kind of concept. I basically have two choices, right? It's either write the code for the main loop or write the code for reading the wall. And I think I'm going to do the main loop. And all of that fiddling around just to say, hey, I'm going to do the main loop. Let's do it this way. So I want from source, we want Space Captain. So right now, looking at the code, what we have is we launch, we expect two arguments. One is the name of the state file that will start to read, that will read when we start up, and one is the name of the state file that will write when we exit. Then we load the config, which is simply loaded from the environment variable, environment variables. Then we actually read the state file into the state. And yes, I'm 100% aware that this is a horrible way to do it and that it's completely machine specific. And if structure alignment or anything changes, Indian order, it doesn't work anymore. But that doesn't really matter, because whatever features I add in the future to deal with that will be behind this. It will be behind the state load interface. Okay, and what we do then is we output a value from the config and we output a value from the state, just to show that we have access to them. Then as part of the shutdown, we're writing the state, we're freeing the state, we're freeing the config. Okay, but the part we want to do now is basically we want to say okay, so we want to enter an endless loop. What I want to look up is C programming while loop. I'm assuming that break and continue. Yeah, break and continue are the keywords. Been a while. So basically what I want to do is I want to enter the loop. I want to I have no idea what it's suggesting there. I don't even want to look at it. Quit doing that. I'll leave it on, whatever. So I'm going to sleep, and then continue. And for now, let's just have the state incremented by the count, or state incremented by 1 every pass through. So what we're going to do is we're going to say st count plus plus. Does plus equal work? Is this a... I like the syntax a lot better. Okay, so... Oops. That builds. And then what we're going to do is we're going to printf count, st count, and I don't need that one there anymore since we're going to print it out every time. And I honestly, well, I'll leave that there for now. Right. Okay. So that works. But what I want to do is I want to trap Control C and exit in a controlled manner. So also what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it write. What I'm going to do is I want to create a known, I'm going to set it to 0. And then here, we're actually going to write it. So if I just run this, right? What should have happened is, it's interesting. What is a good, what is a, hex dump built in. Oof. Man, I cannot type. It's just HD and... Okay, so let's try this. Quicker just to use it. HD state. HD... the other one is... I forgot the name of the file. Dump, I think. HD dump is all zeros. And it... this last value must just be the length, the number of bytes. So, what I want to do right now is I want to CP that over to save dat. No, CP dump to 0 dat. We'll keep that one. We can always redo it. And then we want to CP 0 dat to state dat. And if I HD 0, I have a 0 one. If I HD state right now, I have a 0. And what I want to do is, this is always going to start. It starts by reading state dat, and it finishes by dumping, or it finishes by writing dump dat. And so what I should see is the count. So count is going up. If I stop it, that's what the count, I won't see that, I'm assuming, because, so if I HD into a dump, it never changed because the control C wasn't trapped, it didn't exit cleanly, it didn't write out everything. So what we want to do is trap control C, Linux, C programming, trap control. Okay, and I'm using the terminology I would if I was programming in Ruby, so I could be using the wrong words. So we need signal.h, that's clear. One of the things I want to fix here is these are just going to stay in alphabetical order. So all of the system ones, all of the local ones, and then all of the C files, right? That way they don't shuffle around between commits. I think I'm going to rename Space Captain to just Game. I'll do that after a bit here. But the first thing I want to do is kind of go through that example. So we've included signal.h. Here they have a flag that they're using to indicate whether you want to keep running. It is global. And I will put it here. I don't know if it'll stay there. It's going to be a bool. Done false. And now we need an interrupt handler. It can live here for the time being. I think that's a fine place for it. We'll see. So we have an interrupt handler, int dummy, and then done. I see the disadvantage to using done. It's too common. We could use, I'm just going to leave it that way for the time being. I will fix it here in a second. And then what it looks like we do is we just call signal and pass it the stuff to set up the handler. So it's really, I mean, the Ruby concept is almost identical, and that's because it's just reflecting through what's going on in the underlying Linux C world, right? So we're going to set up a handler for sigint, and this is the int handler, and I think what I'm going to do is int cot. Hate this keyboard. Okay, so I'm guessing that the dummy part is because I mean, it takes an int. What is that int? Let's go back and take a look. What am I looking up? I'm looking up signal. Man, signal. So it takes an int warning, blah, 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 the signal signum. the signal is, so it takes a point, so it's a, well, hey, let me let's start. Does this compile? Unused parameter dummy. What is that value? I do not know what that value is. And it didn't seem obvious here. Man signal. So the behavior of the signal varies, blah, blah, blah. Portability low. Use sig action instead. Man sig action. The sig action system call is used to change the action taken by a process on receipt of a specified signal. So let's take a look. Linux C programming sig action. Example. So, termination handler, include signal, we call sig action, new action, old action. Oh, that's actually what Ruby uses because you can chain them that exact same way. What is signum? Again, signum is not used here, so it's the same problem. What is signum? It's not even explained here. Is it the, I think is it just like the value you are in the chain? I don't know. So where does it get old action from? I don't know. I'm going to try and use this one for now, and then experiment with, should use sig action. Little note to myself. I have to set up the loop to actually care about this. Int cot. Right. So we'll let the count go up to like there. We terminate. And now when we hex dump and we look at not the state but the dump, we wrote, certainly we changed it. Oh yeah, okay, so that's the offset. We, it's little endian, we waited until 4. That's what value we have there. And now if I CP dump over to be state and then run again, it started at 5 and 6 and 7 and we catch it. And we have a CD, HD dump. We have an increment, we have a state value that's actually changing with every loop, and we're catching it on the way out. I do recognize that we need to come back to this and look at this at sig action. I also need to understand what this int is. be nice if we could have a way for it to ignore unused variables, but we don't at the moment. Okay, that was actually pretty straightforward. What I want to do right now is say, let's make clean. Just want to commit this. Add. It's not much of a loop. And push it to GitHub. Exit that. Close out that. And that's good for now. I'm not exactly sure where I'll pick up in the next one, but I will see you in the next video.